Okay, so this is the tutorial on how to set up your page for the Minotaur Tribune. All right, so the first step we're gonna do, guys, is you're gonna go up here to the upper left-hand corner. You wanna make sure that it says Photoshop. If it doesn't say Photoshop, you're in a different program. So make sure you click on Photoshop. When you get there, you're gonna go to File and then New, or you can do Command New. And it's gonna bring up the new dialog box, new document dialog box here. And this is super important, okay? First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna give this a title, okay? So you're gonna put in whatever subject you're working on. So for example, if you're not sure, we can tell you based off the ladder. So Malou, you had a question?
Yeah, is it 6x4 or 8x?
I will get to that next. First, I wanna give it the proper title, okay? So everyone title it. So I'm just gonna put this as template. Okay, give me a thumbs up when you have that portion done. Okay, so Malou, you were working on, can you tell her, Malou, so what are her subjects? For her pages.
Early modern Millie.
Thoroughly Modern Millie.
We'll abbreviate it and I'll have to write that whole thing out.
Okay, this is super important, guys. After you put the title in there, I want you to hit a space and then put your initials. This is going to help me identify who did the page. So I don't have to go, oh, who did 30 Modern Millie? I can look at it and go, oh, it's MH. It's Mary Lou Hernandez. I know it's her. So space JB for me. For the width, you're going to put in 11. Make sure it says inches, not pixels. There should be a drop-down box. If you look on your screen right there, make sure it says inches. I'll leave that on there for a second for you guys to check out. And then for the height, it's 8.5 with a resolution of 300 dpi. That's digital pixels per inch, is what that stands for. And then under your background contents, you see this right here? You hit the drop-down box, and you may have to scroll down, but you want to click on the one that says transparent. I'll leave that up there for a minute. Once you've done that, you should have a blank, essentially a blank sheet of paper and a landscape orientation right in front of you. It looks like Jess has it. Jackson's close. I can see Brooke. Good job. Kat. I see Melissa, Josh, Malou. Wait on Jackson. Loading. Okay. We're going to click on create, and you should have a blank template that looks just like that. This is your blank canvas, guys, and this is actually the term they use in here in Photoshop is canvas, okay? You're going to design all of your elements in here, okay? Don't worry about the bleed as we talked about yesterday, because when we print this, it's going to automatically give it about a half-inch bleed anyway. So we don't need to stress out about that portion of it, okay? So a couple things I want to show you really fast. One, how do you get an image in here? If you have the JPEG, all you simply have to do is go to File and then Open, locate the JPEG you want to use. Let's see if I can find an old one in here. So maybe one of these fashion ones. It's going to open it up in a different tab at the top here. You see that has two tabs? To get it into this one, you simply need to use your Move tool, which is your very first selection here. Grab it. You're going to pull it over. I have not let go of the mouse yet. I'm still depressing that left mouse key. I'm going to pull it to center, and then now I'm going to release that mouse key, and it's going to drop it in just like that. You can change the size of it. If you hold down the Shift key, it'll keep the aspect ratio the same, so it'll just kind of like get bigger or smaller. But if I don't hit down the Shift key, it'll make it look all wonky. That's up to you if you want to do that or not. And if you do this, you're like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Just hit Escape, and it'll just reset it for you. Okay? Okay, so one of the things we talked about doing was adding a cool text element as the headline. Some of the headlines are already done for you. You know what they are, but you can kind of give them an artistic flair. And we went over that the other day. Melissa did a really good job on yours for the article that you submitted. We really like that. So again, how to do that using the text tool. Anyone have any questions on that? That was pretty simple. Do I need to show it again? Okay, so once you have that in there, it's simply copy and pasting. So say you want to add the article. So let's go into my email here. We're going to look up the Tribune. Minotaur Tribune, there it is. All right, so let's look at, Mr. Yankee's review. Here's the text for the review that will accompany the photo. I will take this Friday showing you. I have that. Okay. So a review. So all you have to do is take this information here. I'm going to copy it. Command C or Control C for Jackson because he's the only one on a PC. And then when I come back into Photoshop using that text tool, I'm going to draw a text box where I want to place it. Obviously, 106 point is probably a little too big, so let's get it down. And then I'm going to hit, I'll make sure it's left orientation, and then Command V. And let's see here. It's in a weird font, so let's fix that. There you go. And you can change, you guys can have the font any color you want, but it needs to be something that's easily legible. That script I just had on there is really hard to read. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, this is really hard for me to like kind of wrap my mind around, like the checkered box, if that's disturbing you and you can't work with that, here's how you fix that. In the lower right hand corner, you see this little icon here that has little dog ears? This one right here? This is for a new layer. Photoshop is all about the layers. Just click a new layer. You're just going to drag it to the bottom, and then you can fill in that layer. I'm going to use Control Delete, and it fills it in with white. That might make it a little easier for you to kind of visualize what's happening on the page. You can add backgrounds. You can add borders. So let's go over how to add a border really fast, because this is actually a really cool thing you can do to kind of liven up your... Let me fix this. There we go. Okay, so adding a border. Simply go to any Google search border PNG. Border PNG. It doesn't have to be a PNG, but it just makes life easier when you don't have to do the removal of things. So say you want to add, like, this one's kind of cool looking. Say you want to add this to your document there. You just download it to the computer. So save image as. I'm gonna put it on my desktop. I'm gonna open this up in Photoshop. File, open. All right, and then I'm gonna hit, oh, it's an index file, won't let me use it. All right, I have a secret way of using index files. Oh, that's kind of low resolution anyway. Let's try that again. How about this one? I like that, okay. Save images. Try that again, save images. There we go. All right, file open. Okay, using the move tool, just like how I got that last image in there, I'm gonna do the same thing. Pull it over, I haven't let go of the mouse yet, I'm gonna drop it in there. I can then resize it to fit my template. Like so, and that just adds a little extra pizzazz. If you wanted to add a border or something like that, you can. You can also add backgrounds, just like you would in Photoshop. Go find a background in Google Images, and you can just pull it in there. Make sure it's not a copyrighted thing. Make sure there's no copyright symbols on there. And then to save, this is super important, okay? File. So say you work on it for a little bit today, and you're going to come back to it on Monday or tomorrow, on Thursday, on Monday, whatever. You're going to go to File, and you're going to go Save As, but this is super important. Yeah, apply this. You want to make, if you're planning on coming back and working on it, you need to save it as a Photoshop document. So right here it says Photoshop. You want to make sure it says that. What this does, it saves your layers. It saves all of your work. So you can come back at a later time and pick up where you left off, okay? Your final piece that you're going to be turning in, so that means you're done with it. You've had a partner in your class review it. We're ready to print it and send it to Mrs. Brunk for her to proof. Again, we want to save it as a Photoshop document, but the very final one we're going to save as a JPEG. This will make it easy for her to just drop it into whatever she's printing in and print, and it'll be the right size. So for now, you should only be saving it as a Photoshop document until you're ready to submit it for review. Does that make sense? You always want to save it as a Photoshop document so you can go back and make changes later and not have to redo your work. Does that make sense? I don't want to. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Thank you, Brooke. Josh, that doesn't make sense? Okay. Jess, good? Jackson? You got it, Jackson? Yes? No? Okay, we'll chat one-on-one. Okay, so then you click save. It'll save it as a Photoshop document. I can go back and work on this later. All right, I'm going to cut off this review. Any questions before I turn this off? Because if you have questions, other people watching this are going to have the same questions. Yes?
What was the tool you used to move the JPEG to the?
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate one more time. So I'm gonna open up, say, a picture I want to use. So great question. Let's go over this really fast. Mrs. Brunk, what's the website?
MinotaurTribune.com.
There it is. Okay. So say, for example, who has the aspiring Broadway director piece? Okay. So say you want to use this picture right here. Okay. You have a couple options. You should be able to just right-click it and then save image as. You see that?
I got it. She's got the file.
You already got the file, right? Okay. So you have the file. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to save it to my downloads. Okay. I'm going to go back into Photoshop. Make sure this is Photoshop. File, open. I'm going to open. Oh, no, wrong one. File, open. I hate when I do that. It's going to open up a program I don't want. It's going to bring it download. Should be right at the top. Nope. Bottom. Nope. Where's it at? Desktop, maybe. I don't see it. Oh, did it do the whole thing? It did the whole thing. Okay, the whole thing saved as a JPEG. Okay, do you have just the picture on yours?
No, it's already laid out. I just have to put it in.
Okay, so it's file, new. I'm just gonna make a new one really fast. So we're working off a blank template. So we'll call this test, and then inches, and we will have 11 tab by 8.5, and resolution 300, and then create. Okay, so you have something like this. Let me open it up really fast. So file, open. Is this what it looks like, what you have? Okay. You're going to use the move tool, which is this first one right here. You're going to hold down the mouse, click on it. You're going to pull it to the tab where you want to take it, and then you're just going to drop it in. You're going to resize it to fit your template. Hit enter, and then you're going to save that as a JPEG. So file, save as, and then under format, right here where it says format, make sure you hit this drop-down box and click JPEG. And then put it somewhere you can find it, preferably your thumb drive, but if you have to, put it on the desktop, and then click save. If this pops up, your JPEG options, always, always, always 12 unless otherwise told differently, okay? And there you go. That's done. You see how I did that, Brooke?
Yeah.
Yes, Malou.
How do you make a layer?
How do you make a what?
Layer?
Like a blank layer?
No.
This little dog ear right here in the lower right-hand corner. And then you'll get a new layer. You can move it around wherever you need to put it. Any other questions?
Oh, you mean like the?
Yeah, this one right here. It looks like a dog-eared page.
Okay.
Got it? All right. Thanks for watching.